Welcome back to Star Wars Celebration Live 2015, powered by Verizon on StarWars.com. I'm Anthony Carboni, and right now in the cantina, we have the cast and crew of Smugglers Bounty. Welcome. We've got Kyle Newman, FJ DeSanto, Catherine Tabor, Matthew Wood, Matt Lantern, Sam Whitworth, Tom King, Jamie King. We have the most people we have ever had crammed into 4 square feet of cantina. David Collins, Jimmy Mack. We got. Did I name everybody? Scott Porter. Did I get everyone?
Paul Bateman. Where is he?
Paul Bateman. There we go. He's around somewhere.
All right.
So this is Smuggler's Bounty is the sequel to Smuggler's Gambit, which is an original radio play that you guys did at Celebration a couple years ago.
Yes. So this was the sequel. We thought it was a totally opportune time, being a new Celebration. We kept it in our back pocket and got everybody more or less back together for another incarnation. So it's another chapter in Han Solo's life, but it's all done purely in audio. So it's John Williams music, it's familiar Star Wars sounds, and it's the voices of predominantly Clone Wars actors, but a few extras like Scott Porter, who's joined our little band here. So it's a big reteaming.
And what is it about sort of Star Wars and Han Solo in particular that sort of lends itself to kind of an old style radio play?
Well, I think there's something intrinsically late 70s, early 80s about Han Solo, and that's the spirit of the time between A New Hope and Empire Strikes Back. And fans of all ages love Han Solo, all generations. It's not like there's no divide with Han Solo. He seems to be well loved. It's a good entry point into the Star Wars universe. And allows us to bring in, familiar characters like Chewbacca and R2-D2, which we bring up through sounds, which Jimmy Mack up there provides. And David Collins is our Han Solo, who anchors the whole thing.
Collins, is there a Star Wars voice that you cannot do? I think it would be easier to list the ones you can't do, right?
Probably Princess Leia would be one that I'm really terrible at. I had to read scratch for Princess Leia a few times. It's no good. Trust me. That's what Kat Tabor is here for. She's amazing.
But this is what's amazing to me is like you guys are used to, for the most part, playing these characters, using these voices, kind of in a studio environment, kind of isolated, and you're kind of playing one set character, What is it like to kind of switch up what characters you're playing and also be doing this in front of a crowd?
Like Matt's familiar with playing Anakin Skywalker, and today he's playing Luke Skywalker. So, where's Matt?
Yeah,
right there.
Yeah, it's it's a blast. It's obviously technically a little different than being in the studio, but to have the excitement and the interaction of the live audience is you can't get that in the studio, and it's incredible.
Yeah.
And Sam Whitworth too. Sam's playing a completely new character, and we also have Tom Kane playing C-3PO along with narrating. So.
Hey. Oh yes, it's very exciting. But yeah, it is echoing what Matt said. I've been doing voiceover work for 30-some years, and I think I can count on one hand the number of times I've ever done anything live, and it's kind of a rush, because in the studio, and that's what I do for a living all day is just talk on commercials and stuff. And if you screw it up 5 times, they just do it a 6th. Well, you can't do that when you're doing a live radio drama, or you can, but Kyle will never have you back again. But yeah, so it's not only is it fun to get the audience reaction, which we never get in the studio, but like I said, it's kind of got a little adrenaline rush. It's kind of walking a high wire. So.
And if you're playing multiple characters, how's it feel kind of changing that stuff up? Like you just laughed. Hand him the mic. How does it feel to kind of change up voice? You've got to change everything about your attitude, your voice, your way of thinking just on the fly, right?
Well, it was just, I think I played 3 different characters in this one, and Wedge Antilles, open with Wedge Antilles, and then have to get into a stormtrooper later on, and just making sure the audience knows that it's not Wedge walking up to the microphone. So that's where the live audience kind of thing comes into play. Yeah. You march up there like a stormtrooper when you hear the clanking of the stormtrooper armor to make sure that there's been a change there, and it kind of lends.
Wedge got real rude all of a sudden, right?
And why I'm so confused right now? But it's just fun because you get to change gears. I got I got 3 different roles in one day. You don't ever get to do that.
You also had the very first line, right?
Yeah, I did. I had I'm the rookie in this group.
Nice.
Never done anything in the Star Wars universe, and they gave me the first line
at the deep end
of the entire evening. So I was just very diligent about listening to the sound effect and making sure I came in at just the right time.
But Scott
Didn't
and
want to
Jamie
blow
worked
it.
together for years on Heart of Dixie, so I knew there'd be some immediate, familiarity. And Jamie's normally plays Aura Singh on Clone Wars, and she's playing all the priestesses in the Yoda arc, which were pretty cool if you've not seen them.
Nice.
But in this episode today, she's kind of playing, a resistance fighter who also has links to Han Solo's past.
Yes, as his girlfriend. His
Nice.
girlfriend who has to compete with the princess, which is
I feel
not
like-
easy.
Yeah, I feel like everybody right before Leia was probably kind of. I feel like he dated a lot of bad girls.
Yeah, it never hurts to date someone naughty once in a while, but now she's on the good side, so.
Nice. And I gotta ask, how much time do you guys have to write and prep and get this together before you have to go live? I mean, I know you're all busy. You're all working multiple productions.
If I can, we've been working on this essentially since the last celebration ended. And I'd really say we've been completely obsessed over the last 2 months. So much so that I don't really know what life is going to be like after Smuggler's Bounty. Quite honestly, I don't know what I'm going to do with myself without this play. But we're really looking forward to getting to work on Smuggler's Revenge. I know Kyle has already been working on the script.
Nice.
I can't wait to sink my teeth into the audio, and it's going to be a blast.
I've got to say, the Celebration audience is really, this is something that they really get worked up for now. This is something that they anticipate now. It's become a very big part of Celebration. How does that feel to you guys?
We did the first one, we did the second one. It's great to see the enthusiasm people have for radio dramas because that's kind of a lost art.
Yeah.
It's something that, as much as George says that the Star Wars movies are silent movies, they still have a lot in common with the old school roots of radio and serialized storytelling. And so that's sort of what it is that we're having fun with. We feel like it's compatible with that. They did the original 3 movies. They adapted them for radio, so we're just kind of considering continuing that tradition.
Awesome.
I mean, the cool thing is that Kyle's been talking about doing radio dramas for years, especially with FJ, and they work so hard. Seeing it firsthand, they work hours and hours and hours every day, even though they have crazy busy schedules. And so they're very devoted to bringing back this form of art, and especially for Star Wars.
But that's what I love is everybody who is involved with Celebration, whether you're somebody who works on Lucas Productions, whether you're somebody who is a fan, I feel like everybody here really does genuinely love Star Wars and do what they do out of love for it.
Absolutely, and that love definitely comes through, as Mary Franklin said, and she was quoted in the New York Times. You can't fake this stuff. You know, there's a love that just naturally shines through on stage. And what's really interesting and something to keep in mind about this production is that, we've done some rehearsals, and I know that Kyle and co-writer FJ DeSanto here and I and a few of us read it ahead of time, but this was the first time that all of us read it together in the same room.
It's a 60-page script, so we're going live with a 60-page script. No one's been on stage together. No one's heard the soundboard. You're just going with it. But these guys killed it because they're such pros, and you can just throw them into a situation like that, and boom, it works.
And it's very helpful to know what macro binoculars are, what a DC-17 is, and what stormtroopers sound like, and all those things, so you can just kind of go, oh yeah, sure, okay, here we go. And this group there's so much talent on that stage. It's very humbling.
And one of the cool things about Star Wars is there are the iconic visuals. You do have, what a Star Destroyer is, you know what C-3PO looks like, you know what Darth Vader looks like, but it's audibly iconic. You know C-3PO's voice. You know Yoda's little raspy voice. You know Darth Vader's breathing. You know the scream of a TIE fighter. So it has an audio language that conjures visuals. So, and John Williams' music just brings so much life to it. So you don't need all the visuals. You don't need all the special effects. You don't need all the explosions. You have great actors, and you have key sounds, and suddenly it's alive in your mind.
Yeah, it's amazing, and I got to say, in addition to all of the visuals that we already have in our mind, this is actually a really great time, I think, to be doing audio stuff, as things like Thrilling Adventure Hour and Welcome to Night Vale are starting to come into the mainstream. It's something that people actually kind of expect and look forward to now, which has to make it kind of interesting for you guys.
Yeah, I think Star Wars has had an amazing tradition with this format. They really reinvigorated it in the early 80s when it was dead. And George Lucas put his faith in the program and did it with NPR, and it was a huge success, but it has trailed off. But there's obviously an audience for it, as demonstrated by the last 2 celebrations now. There's a huge outpouring from fans, and these guys killed it. And I think there's room for much, much more. It's one of those untapped areas of Star Wars that I think needs to be serviced.
Absolutely.
I know, like, when I was a kid, we didn't have a way to watch Star Wars at home every day, but we did have a vinyl. We had a vinyl of Return of the Jedi, and I could just listen to this long play vinyl record, and I could let my imagination run wild, which is exactly what this format allows you to do. It asks the audience to use their imagination again, which with this world of just completely immersive media and VR and all these things happening, where's the imagination? What part do we play as the audience in it? And I think that's really what drives it home with this audience here. These people love Star Wars, and these people have let their imagination run wild for years, and we're just trying to let them do that here too.
That's awesome. And even though this is something that is obviously very special and kind of very experiential to Celebration, you did release Smuggler's Gambit for people to listen to. Will this be available for people who couldn't make it to Celebration as well?
I hope so.
That's the plan.
Yeah, we're planning on it. You know, there'll be a little bit of post-production once we hear what we did, tighten it up, etc. But you don't want to lose the feeling of that live audience in particular, because their energy is so incredible.
It's like mixing a whole live album, isn't it?
It's amazing being up on that stage.
It's like a cast recording.
What we'll do. And we're going to layer in additional sound effects. We're going to layer in more ambience. There's going to be more music. Things are going to be tightened up a little bit, but you're still going to have the audience and see how they felt about it. Plus, StarWars.com, I know you've been live streaming it. I think you're going to be able to watch the whole performance in video, but I would suggest also experiencing it when it's done in a few months on StarWars.com as an audio experience. Listen to it in the car. It's a good companion to the first Smuggler's Gambit. They should sit together nicely, I hope.
Nice. Well, yeah, absolutely. Stay on StarWars.com. We will obviously keep in touch with you guys to make sure if and when it does get released, we can get details out to everybody. Thank you so much to the cast and crew of Smugglers.
Thank you very much.
So remember, we will have more from Star Wars Celebration Live 2015, powered by Verizon on StarWars.com. I had one of those moments where my brain just went,